Should we head up to go Globo?
Hell yeah.
Once you get done with that zombie.
What? There's no zombies, right? They're technically called infected. They're infected, they say, Chill.
I'm surprised we haven't seen another car drive past.
It's all those people, you know, the kind of people, Chill, the actually people.
There are no zombies in DayZ. Even the Z in DayZ doesn't stand for zombie. It actually stands for 0.
There are 10 variations of infected now.
Driving past.
Actually,
I saw one.
they're infected. Here, take this vest. But Chill, you should make a video then. Are they zombies or are they infected? It'd be a controversial one, because you get your head bitten off if you call them zombies.
Maybe I will, Gecko. Maybe I will. Because sure, I may be a DayZ fanboy, but let's just say when it comes to the lore, I smell a rat. But we'll get to him. So, what does the Z in DayZ really mean? Like the absolute crazy person that I am, I believe I've stumbled upon a grand and bizarrely meta conspiracy that I can prove reveals the so-called infected really are zombies, and perhaps even the ultimate truth behind the global outbreak. Over the years, I've heard the line so many times.
They're not zombies, they're infected.
And while I don't want to be the
did you know that they're actually zombies?
Guy, I'm about to do just that. But first, where did this origin story come from? For that, let's tune into Survivor FM.
And slightly different, this is what you would see on the loading screen. Dean Hall presents a USEC Force production. On the 12th of March 2013, a prion disease spreads among the world's population, triggering a global pandemic. The disease causes proteins in the brain to be replaced with prions, ceasing regular function.
So wait, the infection is not an infection, it's actually prions, also known as zombie proteins, that exist in a state of both dead and not dead. They behave as an infection, but very importantly, are not one. They cause aggression and ataxia in animals, and you'll know it as mad cow disease.
2% who are not infected yet. This is your story.
Long before DayZ, I believe this whole infected thing started way back in 2002.
So who are you?
I wake up today in hospital. I wake up and I'm hallucinating.
I've got some bad news.
They're infected.
Infected!
Father.
Infected with what?
The blood. There's something in the blood.
28 Days Later was one of the best zombie movies ever, and it still is. It introduced fast zombies and called them infected. Sounds familiar. But what is a zombie, actually?
And you're gonna be next.
Let's go way back.
Lazarus! Come forth!
Not that far. Zombies have been a part of popular culture longer than the word zombie. Most know it to have originally been a voodoo thing. But because modern culture is a lot more frightened by modern science than by dusty old religion, they've swapped out the bad guy for, well, science stuff.
Dark, lifeless, dead. The frontal lobes, the neocortex, the human part, that doesn't come back. The you part.
But long before The Walking Dead was a guy named Romero who took the whole idea and made it, wait for it, legendary. Slow, dumb, dead except for their brains. But is that really what his movies said? I mean, this is the guy who owns the copyright on the word zombie.
The brain is the engine, Sarah, the motor that drives them. They don't need any blood flow, don't need any of their internal organs. Now, I've severed all the vital organs in this one. There's nothing left of the corpse but brain and limbs, and still it functions. Look, Sarah, look. See, it wants me. It wants food, but it has no stomach. It can take no nourishment from what it ingests. It's working on instinct, on deep, dark, primordial instinct. Decomposition occurs first in the frontal lobes, the neocortex, and next in the limbic system, the middle brain. But the core is the last thing to be attacked by the decay. It's the R complex, Sarah, that central bit of prehistoric jelly that we inherited from the reptiles.
But anyway, they're infected, so some of them could be more intelligent than other ones. So like his brain has been infected, but he still like thinks for himself. Just pure anger and shit. And he can figure out how to work a gun.
Gecko, meet Bub, the most famous zombie ever.
You fuck! You fuck! You fuck!
Now, before I get back to DayZ and proving Gecko wrong, let's just get some facts straight, shall we? Zombies can be raised by religion, or by science. Fucking can, okay? End of. Next up, the launch of DayZ Mod in 2013.
Super old logo.
Sure, we've got a pretty sweet, tight team right now.
Totally coincidentally, right after the World War Z movie in 2012. World War Z? DayZ. But are the zombies in DayZ really alive and infected? They don't look very alive, do they? They die in the gas zones, which are clouds of a nerve agent called POX. Since zombies die when their brains are damaged anyways, a nerve agent would still do the job, wouldn't it? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the dots all start connecting. Because according to the lore,
at some point after the Civil War, an infection rapidly spread throughout Chernarus. The CDF made many attempts to contain and destroy the outbreak. They evacuated the cities of Chernarus, set up military camps, bombed cities, and set up roadblocks. But even with these attempts, they were clearly overwhelmed by the infected. Their soldiers either fled to the forest or became infected themselves.
To me, the CDF dropping that gas was a literal and figurative smokescreen, a cover-up to kill both zombies and civilian witnesses to something far, far worse. I think the whole infection is a Bohemia CDF cover story that spans the metaverse. But to prove it, I have to go to Namalsk. In Namalsk lore, the infection was a retaliation for nuking Lantia. And it all happened when the A1 complex collapsed. There's this whole backstory about the Russian CDF and the NAC.
Because on July 13th, 2011, the decision was made by NATO to launch a nuclear warhead at the island of Namalsk. At the same exact time the wormhole was created, the wormhole ate everything around Object A1 within seconds, including the nuke.
That's right. In case you didn't know, it was aliens. And FYI, while on Lantia, you can get a serum that makes you completely invisible to zombies. So, if it was an infection, and Namalsk is an island, and they had the antidote, what was the problem? Now, while not strictly canon, Namalsk was created by the current DayZ project lead, Sumrak, a fucking legend. And his word is good enough for me, because the other guy, the guy who was quoted as saying the Z doesn't mean zombie, it means zero, as in day zero. Oh well, you're not gonna like what he really said.
every journalist an email that is available in the entire industry. So here we go. Zombies are the zombies. You can see the zombies. All the zombies are spawned server side. The zombies, but roving zombies or zombies. We'll cut that in post-production, I'm sure. Unfortunately, with the standalone, we needed to sort the hacking and security first before we look at that. So that's kind of a watch this space, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's terrible. I shouldn't laugh about that. Actually, good. That's terrible. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that.
So, boys and girls, do I have your attention? How about we ask you guys?
Why? Fuck you.
Hey there. Quick question. I've got an interview question for you.
What's up?
Do you call it a zombie, or do you call it infected? Call it
Zombie.
a zombie.
Infected.
Infected. You call it infected. What do you call it?
Infected.
Or is it just a zombie? Or is it both?
Just a zombie.
What does the Z in DayZ stand for?
Day 0, like 0 day.
How does that make sense to you? How does that make sense to you?
I don't know.
Does it make sense to you? Is there any difference to you between a zombie and the infected? Or do you not care?
No, not really.
Not really. Exactly.
But man, the question here is, why your voice is so sexual?
Who's this guy?
Oh, long years of being sexy.
Hey, what's up?
I just want to know.
The question here is, why I want to fuck you?
It's hard not to want to fuck me. I'm just gonna put it out there.
No, man, what the fuck? No, this man has a sexual voice.
As I was saying, I'm just asking about it because I think it's a conspiracy. I think they're zombies, and they just don't want you to know.
What?
Yeah, they're not like the infected story. It never makes sense to me. It doesn't make sense. The game's called DayZ. It has what are apparently zombies in it, but the Z doesn't mean zombie. No, of course not. That would be silly.
That's weird. When you now told me that, you're right. It's weird.
Day 0. Have you ever?
I just want to fuck her voice.
Have you ever counted a day 0 of anything? Is there such a thing as a day 0? No, it would be day 1. But that doesn't sound sexy.
Yeah,
DayZ
I
sounds
actually
sexy.
agree with him. With kind of your voice, I bet you have sex without a condom.
But how can I be so sure, you ask? This is all just circumstantial evidence, isn't it? You want the proof. You want the truth.
You can't handle the truth!
Oh, I'll give you the truth. This poster can be found on a pole in every major town square. It was right there all along, staring you in the face. You just didn't look.